a law to mandate them several times. But what do the rules look like now, and how does Maine compare to other New England states? Tonight, we're taking a closer look.
Number one, my wife wouldn't let me ride without a helmet.
Clayton Rocker never rides his motorcycle without a helmet.
I do have one friend that would tell me that if I hit a car doing 60 miles an hour, that helmet's not going to do anything for me.
But he agrees to disagree.
I mean, I've got a lot of friends that have had accidents and whatnot, so it's just safer to do it. That's the only thing you have for protection, so that and your gloves, so I wear it.
Helmets are estimated to be 37% effective in preventing fatal injuries to motorcycle riders and 41% for motorcycle passengers, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The debate over whether to require helmets has gone on for decades in Maine. The 1967 Federal Highway Safety Act required every state to enact helmet laws to retain federal highway funds. Maine established a law a year later, but less than a decade after that, the federal mandate was reversed and Maine repealed its law. Right now, people 18 and under are required to wear a helmet on motorcycles in Maine, and so is anyone with a learner's permit or who is within a year of completing a driving test. Massachusetts requires all riders and passengers to wear a helmet, and in New Hampshire, there is no helmet law at all.
It's a person's choice.
Even though Clayton Rocker wears a helmet, he doesn't think the laws need to change in Maine.
You got to keep your eye out. You got to look both ways.
Something he says does need to change: distracted driving.
Put their phones down. Put their phones down. I mean, there's nothing that important that they can't wait till they get to the next stop.
And according to Maine State Police, there have been 11 motorcycle deaths on Maine roads this year. In 2018, there were 22 motorcycle deaths.
What a day it was out there today. I'm sure some of the motorcyclists were loving going for a ride out there. Let's check in with Jess Conley, who's in for Keith today. Hey, Jess.
Hey, guys. Yeah, it was gorgeous out there today. Temperatures were pretty nice. We made it into the low 80s in southern Maine. And guess what, guys? We're only going to warm up from here. It's going to get pretty warm as we go into the end of the week. 83 the high today in Wiscasset, 82 in Portland, 79 in Bangor. So temperatures not too bad, upper 70s, lower 80s across the state. But by the end of the week, we'll probably be talking about upper 80s and lower 90s. We're going to see a pretty big warming trend. Well, there it is. You can see the next several days, guys. It's going to be very warm heading into the fourth weekend. If you have this week off, not a bad one at all. And it's pretty clear out there now for the most part. As we go into the day tomorrow, a couple showers possible, especially in northern and eastern parts of the state. But tonight, not too bad. We're seeing some sunshine out there, and we'll see more sun too as we go through the week. You can see those showers just off to our west. Those will move through as we go through the day tomorrow. Again, we're not all going to see rain showers, but some scattered showers and storms definitely possible. But after that, guys, it is looking pretty good. More sunshine, and like I said, those temperatures are going to warm up. So we'll go through the full forecast, and of course, we'll talk about the 4th of July too, guys, coming up in a bit.
Jess, thanks so much. Checking out the headlines now. Central Maine Power announcing today the average bill will be going up by almost $1. CMP says the Maine PUC has directed an annual price adjustment of 85 cents, the average monthly bill starting today. In addition, CMP has put in a request to the PUC to raise rates by an additional $3 a month. We have more information on this story at our website and mobile app.
President Donald Trump returning to the White House last night after a 4-day visit to Asia, highlighted by a history-making but brief side trip to North Korea. He became the first sitting U.S. president to visit North Korea. Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un agreed that nuclear talks should begin anew, the only clear accomplishment from the international media event. Now, Democratic critics remain skeptical of future progress on the nuclear question.
The Transportation Department is poised to relax the federal regulations that govern how many hours a day truckers can be behind the wheel, a long-sought goal of the trucking industry. Interest groups representing motor carriers and drivers have lobbied for revisions that they say would make the rigid hours of service rules more flexible. But highway safety advocates are warning the contemplated changes represent a weakening of the regulations that risk making the nation's roads less safe. Well, you can now get a real ID license or identification card in Maine.
Yeah, anywhere you live in Maine. The Department of Secretary of State tweeted there is this quote, no need to rush in. though enforcement of Real ID requirements won't begin until October 2020. People with valid licenses or IDs expiring will have the option to renew their current ones for a Real ID, but it is not required. Those without the new cards will have to use additional identifying documents such as a passport to travel on a commercial airplane or get into secure federal buildings. We will have much more, I promise you, later coming up in the show.
This is something you've been working on today.
Yes, I have been.
And for a while now. All right, an update to a story we told you about a little more than a month ago now. A program through the Good Shepherd Food Bank will continue after all. Mainers Feeding Mainers supplies fresh local produce from more than 70 Maine farmers to people in need. Last year alone, they distributed 2 million pounds of produce. But the funding for the program became a concern. That's because in 2016, the legislature passed a law to fund the program for 3 years through a state appropriation from the Fund for Healthy Maine, for a Healthy Maine. That funding was set to run out last month. The legislature has now approved $2 million, funding that will last the next 2 years. Grandparents are not doing enough to secure their prescription medication from their grandchildren.
Yeah, researchers surveyed more than 2,000 adults. More than 80% said they did not change their storage habits when their grandchildren were over visiting. Now, the biggest locations grandparents left their medications included medicine cabinets or cupboards, countertops, and inside their purses. Only 5% use a locked cupboard or cabinet. Nearly a third use a container other than what the medicine came in, including easy-to-open containers. Now, according to the CDC, roughly 60,000 kids younger than 5 go to the ER every year for ingesting medication. Well, having a vitamin D deficiency as a baby may lead to health problems later on in life.
Researchers from Johns Hopkins University followed nearly 800 children from birth to age 18. Those who were born with a vitamin D deficiency were 60% more likely to have elevated blood pressure between the age of 6 and 18, and those who consistently had low levels as a toddler were twice as likely to have an elevated reading starting at age 3. High blood pressure in childhood is a risk factor for developing heart disease, as well as having high blood pressure later on in life. Many Americans will be spending time by the pool throughout this week.
Yeah, especially during the heat up. But before you jump in, federal health officials are warning cases involving a chlorine-tolerant parasite are on the rise. Now, according to the CDC, a number of outbreaking involving Cryptosporidium, or crypto, has increased to 13% each year since 2009. That parasite can cause diarrhea that could last for several weeks and is spread through feces or infected people or animals. People can get sick after they swallow the parasite in contaminated water or food. Among the 444 cases studied, more than a third were linked to pools and water near playgrounds. That's not the crypto you want. You want the cryptocurrency.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the Cryptosporidium.
Right.
All right, well, next on Now, some changes are being made to electric cars that will help get attention of nearby pedestrians.
And everything you need to know about Real IDs. That story straight ahead. Hey, Facebook.
Hey,
What's
guys.
going on? Well, look who's here.
All right, hold on. I'm going to log in for you guys. Lindsay's going to help me log in for you guys.
I think we just have to refresh it.
We're taking your questions for Real ID. I know that's usually a talker. Also, motorcycle helmets as well. That's usually a big point as well.
It's interesting. I actually posted the link to my web story about that like a couple hours ago now, and I couldn't believe the conversation had started right away. I know a lot of the discussion has been about riders have noticed, an intense increase in distracted drivers. And that scares them when they're on the road. They say they drive very defensively for that reason. Regina says when it comes to helmet laws, it should be a personal choice. And that's what a lot of the riders who I talked with about this say. But then Gary makes an interesting comparison. Gary says, so there's laws for seatbelts but not for helmets? That is interesting. Scott's chiming in on the Real ID conversation, saying something that a lot of people echo his frustration for. He says, too bad they couldn't have gotten on the ball with Real ID back when I renewed my driver's license.
Yeah, that's
now
a
I will
common
need
problem.
to renew my license 4 years before I need to.
Yeah.
Did you hear that a lot today?
Yeah, I heard that a lot. A lot of people don't want to renew it twice. You got to pay the fee, and the Real ID costs $55 $55.
Yeah. Are we taking a walk?
I think we're at the monitor.
And then we had a question from Rachel Harvey. What is a real ID? If you want to explain that.
Yeah, Rachel, I'll get to that in 1 second when we're back on camera.
It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie, woogie. All of a sudden, all the windows just broke in the newsroom. All at once.
0%.
0%.
Yeah.
Goose eggs. Yes.
Jinx, Jeff.
Did you say Beth was here today? No. A new rule impacting electric cars in Europe is starting today. It will eventually make its way to the United States. So as of today, electric and hybrid cars in the European Union have to come equipped with a warning noise for pedestrians when the car is traveling less than 12 miles an hour or backing up. That's because the vehicles are largely silent when operating, but this artificial sound will be similar to that of a regular gas-powered car. A similar requirement goes into effect here in the United States in September of 2020, requiring the sound at less than 19 miles an hour. Those cars really are so quiet.
Yeah, and we've heard the backup sounds before, like the trucks backing up. You hear the beep, beep, beep.
Sure.
But
To replicate the noise of a motor car,
that's kind of fantastic.
it's interesting, yeah.
I'd like the one maybe to replicate a motorcycle like that.
Or a fire truck.
Oh my God, I would love that on my car for sure. Well, today, the 40th anniversary of the Sony Walkman.
Wow.
Can you believe 40 years? The portable music device changed the way many people listened to music when it was introduced in 1979. Well, back then, it used cassette tapes before evolving into CDs. It ruled the roost for the better part of 20 years. Apple's iPod stole a lot of the Walkman's thunder when it came out in 2001, but the Walkman also eventually moved into MP3 territory, but never quite caught up. You could still find MP3 versions of the Walkman in stores. Well, do you still use a landline? We're going to look at some stats that show more and more Americans are cutting the cord.
And just returning with a full look at that holiday forecast. That's a good sign.
Oh, and the shades.
Looking so good.
Throw out some shade.
I can't talk.
We're going to the newsroom.
Sweet.
No sitting today.
No sitting, that's fine.
But I had many one in my day.
I had a Walkman. I had a CD Walkman though.
It was
I
the
didn't have-
worst when
I
your
had my
CD
dad's
skipped.
cassette one.
I had Walkman
Yeah.
version 1.0.
Did you ever
I had
try
my dad's
running
one.
with the CD Walkman?
Sarah, where are we? We're right here. Newsroom. We're already in the newsroom.
This is when I would want to listen to my Now CD, my Now 5, and it was scratched.
Oh no.
And the Walkman, like I'd be out and about, and if the CD scratched, it was just the worst.
Do you remember the where you're supposed to put the CD in the toilet? Do you remember that?
What?
You're supposed to put like if you scratch a DVD, a CD, or like an Xbox game, put it in the toilet and like.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I never heard that one.
Did my brother just prank me? I think my brother pranked me.
Yeah, I think you broke
Toothpaste? Are you kidding, Isaac?
I've heard toothpaste too,
Oh,
though.
that's-
I've heard
no, that's
toothpaste
not
too.
good either.
No, that's for your teeth, Isaac.
That's good.
There was, remember
Thank
there was
you.
a local company that made
I still listen to CDs. I have them for my car.
Same. I
I
have
use them in my
tons.
car. Yeah.
He still buys me CDs for like gifts and stuff. Like I like the little leaflet so you can see the lyrics.
Yes. So like I love Broadway, and so all of my Broadway are all CDs.
Yeah.
And I listen to them in the car.
They're
'Cause I
mostly-
usually listen to like them the whole way through,
It's the best.
especially on long drive.
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah. When you had to explain what a compact disc was.
Perfect. I'm gonna step
Oops.
into you guys.
I hit something. Where'd it go? There it is.
Yeah, that's never good because you brush the.
Hey, Melanie. Melanie, if you can hear us, this is a behind the scenes look. Sasha says she has a telephone line just to get internet. It would cost us $2,000 to get a Spectrum cable line
line up on our road.
She bundles it. That's smart.
That is smart. Christy says, helmet hair, don't care. That's her slogan for wearing a helmet.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Rachel, I will get back to your comment earlier about what actually is a real ID coming up after the story. It's about to air right now.
Wait, Melanie, is your husband Clayton Rocker? I couldn't believe that that was a real name. It sounds like a rock star name.
He's got a cool first name.
Yeah.
Stand by, I'll walk to you. What's your cue?
Welcome back. A new federally compliant driver's license or identification card is now available in Maine.
Yeah, it's been months and months of extensions, but now the Real ID is available at BMV branches across the state. But the Secretary of State's office is reminding you, just because today is their deadline, it's not yours. Elsa Dyke's birthday is coming up this weekend. I won't reveal her age, but I will say she's had her driver's license since 1959 and doesn't plan on giving it up anytime soon.
I just came in 1st of July, my license due, so I'll come in to get it. So I'm here, dear.
She heard about the new Real IDs rolling out across the state, but didn't realize it was today. She's opting out, keeping her standard ID for now.
My age, I don't travel and get out as much as I used to. I'm lucky I got here to get my license, but I'll look into it.
The Secretary of State's office says they were required to put in the new equipment and procedures starting on July 1st per Maine law. It doesn't mean Mainers should rush in to renew.
Folks have some time to get in and visit us and get the Real ID compliant license or state ID if they choose to do so.
14 months from now, the federal requirement kicks in where a Real ID or a passport will be needed to board a plane or enter a federal building. To get the new Real ID, you're going to have to bring in additional documents then for a standard ID, such as a passport, birth certificate, or certificate of citizenship, a social security card, W-2 form or pay stub with your social security number on it, or a utility bill or vehicle registration with your name and address on it.
Copies of these identity documents will be retained. They are protected behind our firewalls, and we have our own security systems in place to protect that data, just like we protect the current data.
A new Real ID driver's license in Maine will cost $55. Muzinski says it is not equivalent to your passport. An option for now, but might save you a headache in the TSA security line in October 2020. So one frequently asked question the Secretary of State's office is receiving is, can the Real ID work at the border in Canada if you're traveling by car? Well, the short answer is no. By itself, you can't. You will have to bring a birth certificate and a government-issued ID unless you have a passport or a passport card.
Very interesting.
A lot
so
of questions.
No rush, especially if you have a passport.
Yeah, I was thinking about when I was going to do this story today, and I was going to actually
go through it and
go through the motions and actually do it.
Yeah.
You should see the lines.
Really?
Yeah, and I was talking with the Secretary of State's office. It's not because of the Real ID, because everyone's trying to get this in before the 4th of July holiday. Everything they need to do at the BMV.
It's the holiday week.
It's busy out there.
There you go. So pack your patience if you're going there.
You can pack more than that.
Very good. How about this? Something you don't see very often. This is in Mexico. A freak storm dumped hail 5 feet deep Sunday. The temperature was in the mid-70s when the storm hit, and within minutes, hail had partially buried trucks, pushed cars off the road, and blanketed the city with white ice. You see this semi-truck kind of making its way through there. There was hail 5 feet high in some places. The city overwhelmed and had to call in the military to help clean it all up. It's really impressive when you see it compared to the size of that truck.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never seen so much hail, right?
Only thing I have to say, hail no. Hail no. What happened to turn around, don't drown? Did you see that?
Yeah, I guess not in
that's
the
true.
hail.
He already has dad jokes, Jess.
That's crazy. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So glad to be hanging out with you guys. It's so nice.
Great seeing you guys too.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the satellite radar, guys. It's mostly clear out there. We had some sunshine today, and we're still seeing it, and we're going to see lots of sun as we go throughout the week. Things are looking pretty good. You can see again, still mostly clear skies. Tomorrow, though, we will see a chance of some showers, especially if you're in northern or eastern Maine. That's where the best chance is of seeing a few showers or maybe a couple scattered thunderstorms as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Still 79 in Buxton. Portland's at 75 right now, 80 in Augusta, and Bangor now at 79 degrees. Not too bad there at all. Dover Foxcroft at 81. Temperatures are going to get warmer than this, though. Look at the dew points. These are going up too by the end of the week. Right now we're in the upper 50s and lower 60s, so that's right around the comfortable, almost on the verge of feeling a little bit humid out there. But by the end of the week, and especially into next weekend with some rain showers, we could see dew points in the 70s. Look at this. Tomorrow dew points are going to be up a little bit more, mid 60s, then comfortable, but then by Friday and certainly by Saturday, we're talking about dew points in the upper 60s and lower 70s. So let's talk about the showers tomorrow first, and then we'll get to the good stuff. That's some sun and warmer temperatures by the end of the week. Tomorrow morning can see some showers, possibly a couple thunderstorms breaking out across northern Maine. As we go into tomorrow afternoon, still a few scattered showers. Those temperatures are climbing too. Most of us will make it into the upper 70s and low 80s for the day tomorrow. Then by tomorrow afternoon, even a little bit warmer. Portland could make it into the mid 80s. We all could really by tomorrow, kind of late afternoon or early evening hours. Then it's going to clear out as we head into the day on Wednesday, looking nice and bright for the start of the day as we go into Wednesday afternoon. Still looking lovely. Watch these temperatures warm up. This is noontime. Many of us already in the low to mid 80s. And then some of us will warm up even more than that as we go into Thursday and Friday and Saturday. We're talking about temperatures in the upper 80s and even some low 90s by the end of the week. And for the 4th, I know that's the important forecast, right? Look at it. Looks nice, mostly clear, a couple scattered showers showing up, but I think we'll be okay. It looks like we should stay mainly dry. As we head into Friday, a few more clouds move in. Temperatures, though, are really going to be warm, and then the showers move in as we head into the day on Saturday. So all in all, this forecast for the week looks pretty good. If you took this week off, nice job. Seas around a foot tomorrow, winds from the southwest at 5 to 10 knots. So let's look at the extended forecast again tomorrow. Looks good. Most of us will see some sunshine, a couple showers in northern Maine and far eastern Maine. Other than that, it looks good. Many of us will make it into the mid 80s tomorrow, upper 80s on Wednesday. Then look at Thursday for the 4th. If you're away from the coast, pretty good shot at 90, especially across southern Maine. Still warm for Friday and Saturday, still in the upper 80s and lower 90s. Inland, even at the coast though, low to mid 80s are going to feel pretty nice. Could set off some showers and storms as well, both Friday and Saturday afternoon. But right now, guys, the 4th forecast looks good. I mean, 85 to 90 with sun. Perfect.
That's
right?
great news to everyone who's here visiting, everyone who's making, you know, the most of their home for vacation.
Definitely.
Awesome
And
news.
all of our friends that we know took the week off.
Yeah.
We know a lot of them
We
here.
get to hang together, so it's
That's
fine.
true.
It's all good.
Thanks, Jess. Appreciate it.
Okay, Egypt opened a 4,000-year-old pyramid to the public for the first time ever. Teams of Egyptian archaeologists cleared out the burial chamber of a pharaoh and a network of passageways. Rocks and debris filled the burial chamber. Many of those stones were restored to their original places. The restoration took about a year. The mud brick pyramid is located in Fayum and was first excavated more than a century ago. Experts believe it was built by the 12th dynasty pharaoh Senusret II.
It sounds like we should have another Indiana Jones movie.
I know. Maybe worth a trip
Yeah.
to go check it out.
You could also travel here. A magnificent site returns to Chicago's Magnificent Mile. The Cows on Parade, moseying its way back to the Windy City. An art installation first erected 20 years ago in 1999, returning for an encore performance this month called Cows Come Home, a 20-year reunion. This time around in town through the 31st.
It is cool. We've actually been there for a couple of times. We've been able to see it.
Yeah.
They're interesting. Very interesting. All right, so a lot more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Amanda is here with a preview. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, guys. So fire tore through a house in Standish this morning, but neighbors and the fire chief actually believe there's more to the story, saying vehicles have come and gone at odd hours of the night to what they believe is a vacant home. Plus, couldn't we all use a lesson in phone etiquette? Well, we will get just that in honor of National Cell Phone Courtesy Month. That and much more coming up at 5:30, guys.
Who knew there was such a thing?
We all need it desperately.
We do.
Thanks, Amanda. Appreciate it.
All right, stick with us. We're back after this.
Okay, thank you.
Sweet.
All right, let's go catch up on some comments here.
Yeah,
I saw a
Greg
couple.
says it should be rider's choice in regards to helmets, but let's ask the question, why do people driving cars and trucks don't see or pay attention to motorcycles? You know, I think that's one of those things. There's that saying, look twice, save a life. You do have to be very more mindful on the road this time of year. So the point that Tess is making is something that we talked about actually in the story. You know, that's something that some people do say, that is an argument that some people do make. However, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration does have data and numbers to support how it could increase risk for survival wearing a helmet, even more so for passengers on a motorcycle. Thanks, Mark.
Mine always limits the comments. I could only see a certain amount. We have tons
really?
of comments in.
Oh, they're coming up on the bottom. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, John, you two make a great couple. Thanks, man.
That's so sweet.
I was going to try to get back to Rachel's comment about the Real ID, and I can't remember the question.
Oh, she
think
she asked what is
Real
the
ID?
Real ID? Yeah.
Real ID is a federally compliant license that most states are going to. Maine's actually one of the last ones, I would say, to go to it. And it gets you on an airplane or federal building. It costs $55. And one of the things that comes with the federal law is that Maine actually will kind of collect your data. Like your birth certificate will be on file. Before they just kind of looked at it. Now it's on file. They take a new picture. Secretary of State's office told me in the past that they do some facial recognition technology, including like if you have a beard or something, they could figure it out. So
And they keep all that in their
they
database.
keep all the data. They said most of the cost is servers. Well, the number of people who have a landline phone is dropping more and more each year. How many people still use this type? How many people rather use this type of communication to kind of talk to each other?
I know, it's interesting. You go visit people, and less people these days, it seems, have a landline phone. Brandy Smith's breaking it down.
We talk a lot about cutting the cord, dumping cable or satellite for streaming services, but most of us have cut the phone cord too. Yeah, remember those? These days, a home phone is almost as alien as an alien. Let's break it down with a quick rewind to 2007. Per the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, cell phones dialed up about 55% of phone spending. The rest was wired. Pretty close, right?
Hello?
Goodbye, because things looked a lot different in 2017. Cell phone spending made up 82% of the money we spent on phones. Doesn't leave much for those landlines. Guess we're hanging up the phones that required that we actually hang up. Remember? Hanging up?
Sorry.
So just in case it's not clear, this trend is not reversing. Market research firm Newzoo says about 3.2 billion people have smartphones. That number is predicted to hit 3.7 by 2021. So hey?
Well, true love never grows old. That's the case for a pair of newlyweds living in Ohio. John and Phyllis Cook met at this assisted living facility in Slovenia. About a year ago, they started dating after they both lost their spouses.
John is a World War II veteran that recently turned 100, and Phyllis will soon be 103. The couple got married last week at their living facility, and here's their love story.
Tell you the truth, we fell in love with each other. I know you think that may be a little bit far-fetched for somebody our age, but we fell in love with each other.
Well, we just were compatible in a lot of ways and found ourselves, enjoying each other's company.
This is funny. The couple decided to keep their separate apartments instead of moving in together. That's so funny.
I mean, they have their own things and stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, space.
They're set in their ways at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well,
Our news at 5:30 starts right now.